Glad you could be with us for the book of John. You'll remember that Jesus had said, I and my Father are one. And then the Jews took up stones to stone him. And he said, so for which good work do you stone me? And they said, oh, not for a good work. It's because you, being a man, make yourself out to be God. And of course, it was the other way around. He, being God, made himself a man for the sake of his mission that he had come on. And so he left. Remember, he left the Judea area. And he went north, and then he crossed the Jordan River over where John was initially baptizing in the area called Perea. And now in this particular passage, after he hears Lazarus is sick, he says, well, I've got to go and heal him, and this isn't unto death. And they said, oh, really good. And then he said, well, Lazarus sleeps. And they said, oh, so that's good. He goes, no, he's dead. But for your sakes. Okay, so anyway, here we go. After this, all of that, he said to his disciples, this is John chapter 11, verse 7. Let's go to Judea again, back where they wanted to stone him. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, the Jews were now just seeking to stone you. Are you going there again? And Jesus answered, aren't there 12 hours in a day? If anyone walks in the day, he doesn't stumble because he sees the light of the world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. In other words, I'm not doing anything sneaky, anything dishonest. I'm walking right in the middle of my Father's will. What do I have to worry about? Now, having said that, we just went through the book of Mark about a year ago. And you might remember in Mark chapter 10, probably not exactly where, Mark 10, I remember that. But anyway, in Mark chapter 10, from Perea, he said, now we're going back to Judea. And the Bible says in the book of Mark, chapter 10, this is verses 32 through 34, he's walking ahead of everybody, and he's got this determined look on his face. And the disciples said it was scary. And finally, he took the disciples off to the side, and this is what he said to them. Behold, we're going up to Jerusalem. The Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and the scribes, and they'll condemn him to death, hand him over to the Gentiles. They will mock him and spit on him and scourge him and kill him. And 3 days later, he will rise again. He's on his way from Perea back to Jerusalem, and he tells these guys in John 11, I'm walking in the day, I don't have anything to worry about. And then in Mark chapter 10, he tells the disciples, while he's on his way back to Jerusalem, well, we're going back there, and they're going to betray me, and they're going to scourge me, going to spit on me, and kill me, and then I'm going to rise in 3 days. So nothing to worry about? Well, exactly. It wasn't that stuff was happening to him without permission. He was in the middle of God's will, and his mission was more important than his own physical well-being. And in John chapter 12, verse 27, it's just about crucifixion time. He says, what shall I say? Deliver me from this hour? For this hour came I into the world. So in other words, this was his mission. And back in John chapter 10, he said, no one's taken my life from me. I'm laying it down freely. So it was all part of God's plan. So just to remind us, persecution never sneaks by God. Persecution is only by divine permission for a believer. And persecution is only if there's a purpose behind it. So look at the 3 P's of persecution. Persecution by permission, permission by program, or no persecution. 1 Peter 3:13, who is there to harm you if you're zealous for what's good? But then he goes on and says, but there will come times, according to the program, that permission will be granted for you to be persecuted. And he says, when that happens, don't be afraid of your persecutors, but sanctify the lordship of Jesus Christ in your heart and be ready to give an account of the hope that's in you, because you're going to handle persecution like a believer, and it's not like the rest of the world, and it's very noticeable. Well, that's it. Have a great day.